Good morning, everybody. The July the 8th, 2024 work session of the Douglas County Board of Commission will come to order. Clerk, please take the roll for the record.
Yes, sir. District 1 Commissioner Ricky Dobbs is absent at the moment. District 2 Commissioner Whitney Kenner-Jones.
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Martin Raxton.
Present.
District 4 Commissioner Vice Chair Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Phil Miller.
I'm here. We're extremely proud to have a new commissioner. Finally, we have 5 commissioners now, and I don't think it's been that way since last November. So we're certainly proud to have you, Mr. Commissioner. And if you want to say a couple of words, you're welcome to. If you don't, I'll continue.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's good to be here. It's good to serve the citizens and the residents of Douglas County. Looking forward to getting to work, and we have a very esteemed list of elected officials here, so I'm looking forward to getting to it, and thank you for the recognition, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman.
Commissioners, are there any changes that need to be made to the agenda? Being none, the agenda stands as approved. As a reminder, each commissioner will have 3 minutes to make remarks and 2 minutes for rebuttal. Clerk, did we have anyone sign up for public comment?
Yes, sir, we did. Before I call them up, though, I will just give a reminder to please restate your name and address and subject matter for the record when you reach the podium. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. Once you've reached your 3 minutes, we'll ask you to bring your comment to a close. And be sure when you approach the mic to please speak directly into it. So our first citizen, our only citizen who signed up was Susan Krotz? Croats, sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I wanted to come to you all this morning. Thank you for your service. With regard to the animal shelter and some concerns not only I have as a citizen of Douglas County, but several of my friends, neighbors, volunteers who over the years have put time into the animal shelter. I think it was 2 weeks ago, there was a post on social media calling for help to do laundry for the shelter because their washing machine had broke. The post has subsequently been taken down, which is a concern, but it just kind of added on top of several concerns I have had over the past year or so with regards to the shelter. We have, as a family, adopted animals from the shelter. Most recently, less than 2 years ago, we adopted 2 cats. We were told that we had to have them neutered, which we were fine with. They were kittens, and that if we didn't, they would take them back from us. And then we had to show proof that we neutered them. No one ever followed up with us. I brought the paperwork to the shelter. No one took the papers from me and looked at them or anything. At the current time, the shelter adopts out animals that are unneutered, which I find hypocritical given the fact that we are overrun with animals in the county. And it's just, without the follow-up for my kittens, I can't imagine what it's like for an unneutered dog leaving the shelter. The concern I had with the laundry post was, why on earth is there not a budget that replaces a washing machine within hours of a washing machine breaking down?
There is.
Why they were calling out on a public forum for people to come and do laundry in shifts for them and take laundry home from a shelter. I can't even imagine the amount of laundry they have. There should be maybe a commercial washer and dryer there. It's very eye-opening to me that when you see things like that multiple times over a period of time, there's some concerns. I'm not sure how it's being run. I'm not sure if there's a checkup system on the person running the shelter. I feel like there's always a request for food, for blankets, for this, for that. The budget needs to either be increased. There doesn't need to be such a, I don't think there should be. It's a state-of-the-art facility when it was built. And then I felt like it was kind of abandoned, like, here, you guys run it and get volunteers to help you. I'm not sure why we're not supporting it, especially given the fact that we have local rescues overrun with animals because the shelter is too full to take them. I just think that there needs to be some investigating into the shelter, maybe some program changes, maybe not so much a reliance on volunteers, but staff. They need more staff members. They need more money, obviously, to run efficiently for the community. We ourselves in our neighborhood, I live in Tributary off of Riverside, we're constantly rescuing animals, we're constantly trapping animals and fixing them at our cost, out of our pockets. That shouldn't be the case.
Okay.
That's my time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Clerk, do we have anyone else?
No, sir.
We have the county intern presentation this morning. Tiffany Stewart Stanley will present.
Good morning, Chairman Miller. That presentation will actually be tomorrow.
Okay. Says this morning. Next on the agenda is the meeting minutes. Commissioners, please review the minutes before tomorrow's meeting. We will now begin with the agenda items. Clerk, please begin with the first item.
Yes, sir. Our first item is grants, number 4, authorization to accept the fiscal year 25 Criminal Justice Coordinating Council Juvenile Justice Incentive Grant to fund community intervention programs in the amount of $253,000 with no match, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Jamie Dappermont.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you doing? So this is the Juvenile Justice Incentive Grant. This is a grant that we've been receiving this will be our 12th year. This grant provides intensive evidence-based services to our moderate to high-risk delinquent population in juvenile court. This has been one of our longest-standing grant funding sources, and we look to continue providing those services to our youth for another year.
Do we have any questions? Any comments?
And just to make sure that I'm clear, Mr. Dappermont, this is in addition to the services that they already get through Chance Court and all of those. So this is just completely, you all have gone out, sought out an additional funding source to ensure that you're able to provide services to our juveniles.
Correct. This is an ancillary service. Chance Court participants are open to be able to participate in this. Our incentive grant is, like I said, it's our longest standing delinquency grant. It has been serving youth since 2011. So we've done really well with this grant, and we hope to continue that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Do you have a question? So thank you again for the presentation. Just a quick question in regards to the grant. Year over year, has there been an increase in the amount of the grant for this year? And do we also anticipate receiving the grant next year?
We actually, we've stayed pretty consistent in the amount of funding. This year, we actually did get a slight decrease. That is to say the state funding committee who funds this grant did get less money from the federal government this year. So I don't believe it was a reflection on our performance in any way. We actually got selected as one of 5 counties in the state to participate in the Juvenile Justice Incentive Grant pilot program project this year. So we've actually just completed a site visit where they came out and evaluated all of our programming and all of our practices, and we got really good results from that as well.
Okay. And do we think next year we also have a good chance?
We feel fairly confident that as long as this program receives state funding, state and federal funding, that we have a good chance to receive it year over year.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Okay.
Next.
We'll move to our business
Thank you.
item number 5, which is approval for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to renew agreements with Administrative Services, Inc., estimated at a cost of $111,404.80 to be funded through the Sheriff's Office budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lieutenant Colonel Pounds.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We've had a contract with ASI since 2005. The amount that we pay is $35,187.20. That's for the administrative fee. ASI negotiates the price we pay to the hospital for inmates that need medical care and the Medicaid rates for anyone that is hospitalized. ASI will pay the bill and we will reimburse them. In 2023, we will bill $4,175,091.79. We reimburse ASI $161,528.64, saving the county over $4 million. This is separate from the inmate health insurance contract that we have with Correct Health. And there is no rate increase for this year.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Thank you, sir.
No, I do have a
Oh,
question.
oh,
I apologize. So you said that this contract we have been using since 2005?
Yes, ma'am.
Does this go out for bid? And if so, how often or how frequently are you putting it out for bid?
I'm not necessarily certain that we do it every year for bid, but I know we have in the past. I can get back with you and let you know for sure.
Do you know if it's been within the last 5 years that they have put it out
I
for
would
bid?
say yes, but I'm not really sure, but I'll get back with you.
And then is the term of the contract annually, or is this something that
Annually.
you do multiple?
Annually, yes.
And then you said it was separate from health insurance. Do you know how, is that a service that they also offer? Would that give us any savings if we combine those two services, or is that not an option?
I don't think that's an option, but again, we saved over $4 million with this company.
And you guys have been satisfied with this company?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
I have no further questions.
okay. Anyone else?
I do have just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, just to build on the performance, year over year, has there been any concerns, any deficiencies, anything that we have found that would give us pause for moving forward with this particular vendor?
No, sir. None
Okay.
whatsoever.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, you have the next one as well. Number 6, approval for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to renew stop-loss insurance agreement with HCC Life Insurance for inmates and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Stop-loss policy is negotiated through HCC Life Insurance so that there is a cap on how much the county has to pay if an inmate has a major medical expense. The stop-loss is 14 cents per day per inmate. Our deductible is $100,000. So after that $100,000 deductible, they'll be responsible for the bill.
Questions or comments?
Do you know approximately how much that the stopgap insurance has saved us over time?
That I don't know. I'll get back with you on that as well.
And then what's, in terms of performance, what has the county's exposure been year over year had we not had this insurance?
Wow, I mean, it's astronomical probably because we got, incidents that happen like such as an accident and the inmate has to be hospitalized for a month or so, or someone gets hurt and we have to put hospital guard duties on them. That's why our officers have to sit there and watch them. And the medical bills, I couldn't even tell you the number.
And is this a coverage that we use regularly?
Yes,
And then the same question I had on the last, is this a service that's been put out for bid, and how frequently does that occur?
I'm thinking the same amount as this ASI as well.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Yes, sir. Mr.
So is the $100,000 deductible, is that per incident?
Yes, per incident, yes, sir.
Okay, and do we have an idea of how many incidents we've had in the last year?
No, we don't. I mean, I'll give you an example for the deputy that was shot last year. That assailant, that guy was also, he was in the hospital and graded for probably a month or better, so. But whatever that deductible was over, after at $100,000, that's when they picked it up. Now, yeah, we have some situations where they're gonna be extended for a while, but not every situation. So it's probably less than 10, I would say.
Okay, in 2023?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Okay. One more for you, Lieutenant Colonel Pounds, is number 7. Approval for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to renew an agreement with Doron Precision Systems, Inc. for the period of 8/1/2024 through 7/31/2025 for maintenance calls, including parts, labor, and travel costs associated with the driving simulation system in the amount of $11,268 to be funded through the Sheriff's Office budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Doron services our driving simulation system. We'll use that for teen drivers, for elderly drivers that may have forgotten all the laws of the road, but it's mainly focused to help the teen drivers and give the parents some insight to what their teen may be facing while they're on the road. They put them in different situations such as distracted driving, drunk driving. So there's different things that they can do on that simulator that allows them to be better drivers when they get on the road and cut loose on their own.
Not to brag, but I believe I started that program when I was there, and these kids quite often are thrown a set of keys and told to go out and be careful and have fun, and they really don't have the experience that they need in order to drive. And this program allows a lot of hours of in-class training and participants by the parents of the kids. So once they complete this program, they have a lot better understanding of how to drive. So I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Number 8 is approval to amend the purchase schedule for 11 buses to replace vehicles that are at or near the end of their useful life, to be funded through the 5307 Urbanized Area Formula Grant and the 5339 Bus and Bus Facility Grant previously approved April 23, 2024, totaling $1,143,723, with a local match of $289,818 to be funded through the Connect Douglas budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Ron Roberts.
Ron?
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I came to the board a few months ago to get y'all to accept the grant to purchase these 11 buses. And at that time we were going to stagger them over 3 different years of purchase. The lead time on these buses is really going to take a long time. What I'd like to do is, I have the match in my existing budget. I'd like to go ahead and let Model 1, this is the state contract that we're getting these buses from, so that as soon as they get a PO, they can start building these buses or replacement buses for us. We probably won't take possession of them until after the first of the year, to be honest, or in December. But that's the item. Like I said, the match is actually in my budget, and y'all already approved the FTA grant for these purchases. So I'm just here to make that little tweak, since I'd already brought the item before you before. Any questions or anything?
Questions, comments?
Just a quick question, and thank you again for that overview. Do we facilitate or foresee any type of change request or need, because like you said, this was over a 3-year period, where that cost could be changed or could increase at all?
It actually, so when I talked to them, it was like a 5% increase next year, 10% 2 years from now. So we do save an additional $15,000 on our local match by going ahead and purchasing them all,
Okay.
or ordering them all right now.
Okay, very good.
So that's a good question. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? How many buses do we have?
17.
17?
Yes, sir. These are, we have, let's see, 300 to 317. All these buses were originally purchased. They've been in use for the 5 years that the program's been in existence.
Okay. we have a mileage number that we depend on to replace them, a mileage
Oh,
number?
yes, sir, yes, sir. When they, as I stated, the useful life hits 150,000.
And these are around that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir, they are.
Any other comments? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 9, approval to proceed with a notice of intent to award for solicitation number 24-019 Selman Library remodel, naming Batson Cook Construction as the selected bidder for a contract in the amount of $4,982,000 to be funded through 2022 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lindy Moore.
Good morning, everybody. We had 4 companies, after we put out our bid, we had 4 companies respond, and our review committee went through all of the technical aspects of all of the companies, and we unanimously selected Batson Cook. In their architect that they're partnering with is McMillan Pasden Smith, and between the two of them, they have extensive library experience. Cobb, Fulton Gwinnett, DeKalb, they've all had libraries built with these contractors. We're very excited about this. With all of the 4 that we reviewed, this one had the highest public impact that we could see. You know, we've got to replace the electrical and the plumbing, and that's not really a forward-facing thing. Patrons aren't going to really see a lot of that. But with this design proposal, they had the highest public impact that we could see. So we would like for this one to be approved.
I know you're glad to be getting what it will be essentially a new library.
Yes.
It's long overdue. Do I have any questions or comments? Mr. Raxton?
Yes, just a quick comment in regards to the 2022 splosh, and I know that as part of that, we also were looking at the other library in Dog River, and just wanted to see if we have any updates or any movement in that regard as well.
At this time, I'm not aware of how we are proceeding with the rest of the SPLOST money that's been allocated for libraries. I think that is still up for discussion.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 10 is approval to accept the proposed premium and bind the coverage through Travelers Insurance for the June 2024 through June 2025 transit insurance in the annual amount of $234,429 to be funded through the general fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Justin McDermott.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Administrators. This is something that hasn't been brought before the board before, but to increase transparency, we're looking at getting the board's opinion on how we move forward with our insurance. This one specifically is for the transit system, which Ron Roberts came up here and spoke about a minute ago. It includes 18 vehicles that our third-party contractor would be able to drive. Basically, anybody that's not a county employee, we have a separate insurance plan for this. This is Michelle Hill. I'm Justin McDermott with Risk and Safety. This is Michelle Hill, Vice President of Apex Insurance. She's our broker. I brought her up here to answer any questions that I couldn't for you all.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Yes. So you're saying that you are insuring 18 vehicles for non-county employees?
It'll be the third-party operator, the Transitions Commute Solutions, who is the current vendor. Their drivers actually operate these vehicles, so we keep a separate line of insurance. Transit's very expensive to insure. It's a whole lot more risk than our usual, even more risk than the Sheriff's Department insurance, so we keep a separate line item. Not only that, but the transit actually started in 2019, June 20th, 2019, so we have to have a separate line item for it.
Do they also carry their own insurance?
On their employees, I believe, but not for the vehicles. We carry that per our contract.
And we're only responsible for any damages to the vehicles, not to the individual person who would be operating that vehicle?
The person who's operating the vehicle should be carried for by their workers' compensation, which is not carried through the county. Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's clear in whatever service agreements or contracts that we have with those individuals?
Yes, ma'am, as much as I am aware.
I have no further questions.
Just a quick question.
correct.
So maybe for the broker, thank you for coming. I was just curious as far as the selection of travelers and the recommendation of travelers, what was it that really stood out about travelers versus the other insurance carriers?
Sure. So Travelers is currently on the other lines of some of the other lines of coverage that the county carries, like the sheriff vehicles and the other county vehicles. Since this was a brand new operation in 2019, generally an insurance company likes to see 5 years of performance before they like to get on board to start something. So having this been in 2019, 2023 was a green year, so you actually started in 2024. So Travelers took it on because they write the other lines of coverage for the county on the other county vehicles. So they took it on since they could see the performance based off other vehicles. But going forward in the future, we could shop it out because they've now had 5 years of coverage.
Okay. And then I would assume that the cost was also very competitive as well?
Yes, so being at a brand new operation and being at a transit, you have the exposure of everybody on board as well. So they are generally more expensive because of the risk it takes. And the county did have some losses in the years that they have operated. So that's all taken into consideration when the rate comes in.
All right. Thank you.
You mentioned that it took care of our buses. Does it take care of the passengers on our buses?
Yes, sir. It takes care of the passengers as well. The only people we would not really insure would be the employees of the third-party contractor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, next.
Okay, thank you. Number 11, approval for the fire department to enter into a fire protection agreement with Centos for the repair, testing, and reinspection of the fire sprinkler system at the fire department headquarters building for the total amount of $4,811.04 to be funded by the fire department budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chair, Board. Upon inspection of our headquarters, we recognize that there's some deficiencies within our own fire suppression system for our building, and so we are looking at having some ITMs done for that building to get it taken care of.
Okay, questions or comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number 12, approval to accept change order number 4 for the Spine Road project in the amount of $210,101.45 with Summit Construction and Development LLC to be reimbursed by the Douglas County Development Authority, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Director Rana.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, and County Administration. Spine Road is an active roadway construction project that proposes half a mile of roadway off of Fairburn with roundabout, multi-use trails, sidewalks, and streetlights. This is an economic development project that has 2 commercial developments currently under construction to the southern end of the roadway. Part of their UDC compliance is that they're required to install 2 deceleration lanes. To better align resources and better manage construction activities, we're proposing that our county's contractor install those decel lanes, given that the Development Authority will reimburse the cost. And with that comes the amount that was mentioned as a change order, plus another 60 days of extension in their time of delivery. We're recommending your approval. Thank you.
Okay, questions or comments? You know, a lot of us up here will be glad when that Spine Road project is completed. It's been going on quite some time, but thanks for what you do. Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Okay. You have several more. Number 13 is approval to accept additional right-of-way easement donations for the Spine Road project from Foxville Douglas LLC for tax ID number 012-901-50215 and 012-901-50214 with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Given the undertaking from item number 12, there's additional right-of-way that's required to install these deceleration lanes. We're requesting your approval on additional 0.2 acres of easements to be donated towards county. Majority of this right-of-way is temporary and driveway easement, which means this will be relieved after construction is completed. This comes to us at no cost, so we're recommending your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone? All right, next.
Okay, number 14, approval to submit a signal permit application to the Georgia Department of Transportation for Liberty Road at I-20 interchange eastbound approach with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
In our last board meeting, the board allocated SPLOST 2016 funds towards new signal projects. Liberty at I-20 is one of those projects. We have concluded a traffic study that proves that a signal is warranted for the eastbound approach. Along with that traffic study, this permit is required to get GDOT's concurrence on this effort. And this goes to GDOT without any additional cost to the project, and recommending your approval again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone?
Yes, Chairman. Once this application is submitted, how long do you think before we can start, or actually the construction process will be started to install those lights?
We're projecting construction to occur somewhere between spring to summer of '25. The review process is quite extensive, actually. This will take roughly 4 to 6 months to complete GDOT's concurrence and get the permit on hand. And then the remaining 3 to 6 months will be ordering equipment and installation.
Okay. Thank you. I yield back, Chairman.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir. Next.
Thank you. Number 15, approval to submit a signal permit application to Georgia Department of Transportation for the Spine Road at Highway 92 Fairburn Road with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
As discussed under item number 12, Spine Road proposes a median cut on Fairburn that is controlled by GDOT, and we're proposing a signal facilitating the turning movement at that intersection, and requires a permit to be filed. Requesting your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
No, I just know that the residents of District 2 will be very excited. If that gets approved, it's definitely going to lend itself well to increasing the safety on that particular stretch of road that's been pretty hazardous for quite some time. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Good.
Next.
Number 16, approval of a resolution of support of the county's application for Atlanta Regional Commission, ARC, Freight Cluster Plan Grant with the local match of $50,000 to be funded from the Capital Transportation Fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
So this is a grant opportunity for Douglas County to develop a comprehensive freight management plan. This plan is intended to study the current truck ordinance, truck parking issues, and better manage truck routes throughout the county. This will be a 80-20 split. It's federal funding through ERC. So the grant amount is $250,000 with $50,000 being the local match. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments?
Yes, Chair. Is this study going to be for one localized area, or is this for the county as a whole?
We are projecting to study the county as a whole and then target specific areas that require cluster management.
And are they going to look at, I know that there's been resident and constituent issues in terms of transfer truck parking on Riverside Parkway specifically. So is that one of the areas that would get targeted from this?
Yes, certainly. Those are some of the major roadways. Riverside is one of them, so we will be studying each and one of those.
And is there any possibility with this type of study for them to determine which enforcement agency is going to be responsible for enforcing ordinances that we already have that would have prevented the truck traffic and parking issues?
Right, so this is a planning study, so part of that planning will be a comprehensive overview of what needs to happen or basically what teams need to work together to better manage these truck issues, and that would certainly be a question on what appropriate enforcement methods should be put in place.
And what's the timeline or time period that the study will take place over?
So ARC recommends 12 to 18 months of planning efforts, and once this is approved, given when the grant money comes in, we'll try to expedite this as fast as we can because we have a lot of pre-data to work off of.
I yield, Chair.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just one quick question,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chair. So thanks for giving the update in regards to the timing, because that's one thing I was going to ask. How are we also going to reach out to the citizens and residents to make sure that they're giving opportunity to give input, and how's that going to be shared and communicated out?
Sure. Since we're using federal funds, public involvement is required for this grant program. As soon as we have a consultant on board that will be performing the comprehensive study, we'll schedule some public input sessions. Those will be advertised through the county communications office, and then we'll identify the right number of open houses we need to have, and the appropriate methods we'll have in person and online for people to provide input.
Okay. And will those open houses be held in each one of the districts throughout the county?
We could certainly plan it out that way if the board prefers it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 17, approval to renew an agreement with Fifth Asset, Inc., DBA Debt Book for a 3-year agreement of $24,290 for software compliance with GASB 87 and 96 audit requirements, subject to annual appropriation by the BOC and funded through the Finance Department's budget, with the 2024 allocation being $7,630, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Dominique O'Shea.
Good morning, Chairman Miller, Vice Chair and Commissioners. We are asking your approval to renew this agreement for a 3-year period. We use this software for capturing intangible assets, like the softwares that we use for financial system, and also capital leases. The purpose of this is to keep us in compliance with reporting standards for governmental entities, GASB 96 and 87. The cost in 2025 is currently estimated at about $8,000 approximately, and in 26 will be approximately $8,600, total of 24. 2024 cost will be a little over $7,000.
Okay. Questions, comments? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Number 18, approval of a proposal from Place Services, Inc. in the amount of $45,000 for architectural services at the facility located at 4655 Timber Ridge Drive, including design, documentation, construction administration, and bid document preparation, to be funded through the general fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending closing and final legal review. James Worthington.
Morning, James.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the board. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
This is, as mentioned, this would be for architectural services for the new facility. This person would come on board, do all the design work for the interior renovations, things like the offices, the cubicles, the front counter space, any of that kind of work. This building was previously designed as a school, so there will be minor renovations that will be required. We're trying to just go ahead and take a kind of preemptive strike and get this on the board, get it approved, so if closing goes through, we don't have any downtime on that. He is expecting to do the design work and all of the construction documents about 6 weeks. We'll get that stuff back, and then we'll bring that before the purchasing, and we'll go out for bid to a general contractor on that. Of course, that'll have to come back before the board also.
Okay. Questions, comments? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Number 19, approval of a resolution authorizing the Managing Director of Development and Planning as an authorized agent to sign on behalf of Douglas County for documents related to the purchase, renovations, operations, and maintenance of the property located at 4655 Timber Ridge Drive. Director Worthington.
Good morning again. This is also in relation to the new facility. What this will do, when we become the landlord of this facility, there is existing tenants in there for a short amount of time. So we have to keep that facility up and running immediately. So we'll have to transfer a lot of utilities over to the county's name: water, sewer, power, trash service, pest control, elevators. There's a lot of services that go along with that. What this is a resolution authorizing me to sign all of those documents. Not the actual closing documents, but once we're closed, I would be able to set up those services in the facilities. We're looking to temporarily assume the contracts that are in place until we can go through our purchasing contracts, our standard policies, to replace those vendors. And they'll have opportunity to bid also, but to make sure we go through the bid process meeting our own standards. But for a short amount of time, we have to keep it open as is. So we're just gonna have to assume those under the existing rates and until we can get those things bid out.
Okay. Any comment? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 20 is approval of amendment to the Multimodal Transportation Services Division Procurement Guide, Section Number 7, Protest Procedures, and the Douglas County Procurement Policy and Procedure Manual, Section 10, pending final legal review. LaTanya Ammons.
Hi, good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, BOC, and the public. Currently, the Douglas County is operating, I guess, under 2 procurement policies. One is specific to Connect Douglas, because that is an FTA funded project, and then we have the general county policies and procedures. A subset of those procedures is what's called a protest kind of regulation or policy. And so for the general public, a protest is when a vendor is not happy with necessarily the recommended vendor to be awarded a solicitation. So it's been discovered in a recent protest that we have 2 different protest policies and procedures, which can be confusing to the public, right? And so my department's motto is fairness, transparency, and compliance. So in order to achieve those, I am proposing language that is the same for both, and there will just be a little adjustments down in the Connect Douglas policy as far as what to do, because it is an FTA process. So in essence, one protest policy, doesn't matter what the funding source is, local, state, or federal, and then it's more concise and less confusing than the current protest language that we have now. And so what was in your package was a draft. And so if you all approve the draft, then we will tidy up with legal, again, those concise protest procedures for the public, and then they will also be placed on the website. So for everyone to understand that if they do not, agree and want to protest, these are the concise policies or the procedure in order to protest.
Questions?
Continuity and clarity save money and time. So I think that that's a wonderful job catching that issue and making sure that people are aware, regardless of which entity that they are dealing with, that this is the policy and the progress that's, or the process that's going to be followed. So thank you for catching that.
Thank you.
And just one comment.
Yes, sir.
So this is great. Thank you for, again, simplifying this. And I'm just curious, are there other sections with both the general county policies as well as Connect Douglas that your team is also looking and reviewing and that you're looking to bring forth to the board for us to review as well?
So my goal was to have a redo of the procurement policy by the end of this particular year.
Okay.
I've been here 2 years, but I didn't think it was just to come in and change a policy without understanding how the county kind of breathes and moves. And so the goal is to present one by the end of this year,
Okay.
and I will look for, gaps, but we know that we have a lot of solicitations. I've done approximately 80 since I've been here, and only 1 protest. And so in anticipation, again, because of the heightened, the increase in business that we're doing with the county, the increase in the visibility, I do want to make this process, the entire solicitation process, fair for all, but I am looking for those other gaps.
Okay.
And to create the synergies.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 21, authorization to transfer $35,541 from Intergovernmental Services, Department 112, to Communications Department 192, and authorize the transfer of $13,200 from the Communications Department 192 to the Print Mail Graphics Operations Department number 145 for personnel restructure. Tiffany Stewart Stanley.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Miller, Board of Commissioners. So I'm coming before you today to request some transfers between departments in the Intergovernmental Services Division. When we restructured the organization last year, we have been looking to make sure that we have everybody in the correct department. And in doing so, I've identified that we need to adjust some funding. For the Intergovernmental Services Department, which is also Department 112, we are asking to move $35,541. That is to move the digital media specialist out of that department to the correct department, which is communications. So that's that request. And the second request for the transfer of $13,200 from communications, that is for a personnel restructure of the print mill, also known as Graphic Operations Department. That department currently has a supervisor, and we feel that that department needs a manager. So we are wanting to reallocate those funds to adjust that position. So I'll yield for any questions.
Okay. So are you creating a new position?
No, I am not. So, and this will have no impact to the budget. Because we passed the budget at a departmental level, we have to come back before you for any adjustments. But we are not creating any new positions. It is just looking at the department and looking at what the department really needs versus what we had 2 or 3 years ago. And the graphic operations department, those responsibilities have increased greatly. And so we need to reclassify that from a supervisor to a manager position.
Okay. Questions, comments? Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Discussion items.
Okay, yes, we have 2 discussion items. Austell annexation request RV for an RV park, and a Douglasville annexation on Doris Road for a residential subdivision. Phil Schaefer is here.
Morning, Mr. Chairman.
Morning, sir.
Welcome to one of my most favorite former Planning Commission chairmen of all time. Mr. Ratner.
Well, thank you.
So
Good to
this
see you.
morning I have a couple of annexations to discuss. The first one over by Austell is just for a few acres. The RV park over there would like to annex into Austell. There's some property to the north of them in Cobb that they would like to also annex in order to expand the operation that they're engaged in. We don't find a reason to object to it, and given the complications of how RV parks would be regulated in Douglas, I can understand why they would prefer to be in Austell city limits itself. They went through quite a process just for the 5 acres that they have yet to develop to their immediate west. That was a rezoning process a few years ago. If I had been doing it, I would consider it a painful process, because there was complications with the way flood zone, how you have to handle what gets done in a flood zone. So whatever they're going to do, I would say, for us, there's no implications financially. There's nothing that we have invested in the property itself that would cause us to say this annexation shouldn't go forward. It's 5.79 acres. It allows them to do a little bit more with their original process. And they've been there for many years as an RV park. So that's our suggestion on that one. The second, the city of Douglasville, is a little more problematic. Once again, we see sort of the historic process of annexing little pieces through very large public properties. In this case, on the northwest side of Douglasville is the school. As you go out west on Chicago Avenue and you get to Doris Road, there's a school property. Quite a few years ago, and I don't remember the exact year, but maybe 7 or 8 years ago, they annexed a very small piece of property through that school. Now they're coming in and asking to annex 79 acres on the opposite side of the street, reaching again through the school, through that original 1/2 to 2 acre annexation on the east side of Doris, crossing Doris and asking for 79 acres to develop 155 homes. Now, the zoning out there is RA, 1 unit per acre. The density that they're proposing is to go to R4, which is 4 units an acre. There's no legitimate reason for us to say no on the basis of our investments in the area. There's no financial impact to the county other than Doris Road, of course, which we will still maintain, because as you reach across the street and go north on the street, we still own the maintenance of the street, Doris itself, as it runs north on the side of this subdivision. So there are some minor implications financially for the transportation department, but there's no investment that we have as a county. So jurisdictionally, when you look at the statute, there's no statutory reason for us to be able to say no. But again, as you've noticed over the time, Douglasville has a history of annexing property willy-nilly, and right now we have a gigantic responsibility in the middle of Douglasville itself that the county is completely surrounded by, and we still maintain those roads. And here they're reaching out kind of off to the side, northwest, once again. So I'm not sure what your will is on this particular annexation, but it is 155 homes. It is going from RA to R4, so from 1 unit an acre to 4 units an acre. If we object on the basis of the density increase, you could push that off. The statutes would force them to wait a year to develop the actual 4 units an acre. So there's some statutory issue that helps us, but eventually cities have the upper hand when it comes to annexations, unfortunately, in the statutes. So absent any true statutory justification to say, no, I don't have a letter of humongous objection that I can hand to you to give to them, other than to express your disheartening dissatisfaction.
Can we refuse based on the fact that they're going through public property?
It's already been annexed once on the east side of the road. They've already reached through some years ago on the east side of the road, so there's already annexed property there. That was the one that we should have said, wait a minute, that's just wrong, because that's how tributary got started. You know, annex up the interstate, come down through the park, the state park, and suddenly you've got a whole problem on your hands.
Yeah. Well, we're still trying to figure out how they got to Thornton Road, but
again, leapfrog.
It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
I have some. So you mentioned that there's no impact to the county, but has anybody discussed with the residents who have previously only been paying county tax but now would be responsible for paying county and city tax if that property is annexed in?
So only the property that is requesting annexation, it is a 100% annexation request. Okay. So that owner is the one that is proposing his property to be annexed. Neighboring properties will still be county properties, so it will only affect that one.
What's the impact to the school that is there if they go from R1 to R4?
155 homes would be 0.5. It's going to, well, it will raise the number of students, obviously, at the school right there.
And have we considered what any impact fees or impact would be in terms of damage or increase on that roadway?
No. I'm just pointing out it is an impact. It's one of those that we've lived with consistently for many years all over this city-county interface.
In terms of water and sewage usage, what does that look like?
It'll still be the same water and sewer authority that both the city and the county.
Well, I guess what would be the additional impact? Can they handle an increase that large?
So they will be, it's my assumption they'll be on sewer at some point because you can reach through to the school to get to the sewer. So the impact will be to the north side treatment plant. But the Water Sewer Authority has their impact fees put together in such a way that that will be accounted for, and they will not lose money. They will be making enough money to handle the additional houses.
And have we had any discussions with the sheriff's department or the police department and with fire and EMS in terms of their ability to service a neighborhood that large?
The comments that I get back are the same comments you'll see in the cases for tomorrow night. We need more people as growth occurs. We still need more sheriff. We still need more firemen. It'll be the same comments. We're just in that position where the city would like to annex, and we don't have statutory authority to try and continue to say no, unless we have a true, actual financial impact to us that we can say we have an investment here. That's unfortunate, but I can certainly, as before, raise the issues and express the concerns of the commissioners to the city council, as I did, I gave you some examples of in my staff report.
Well, it's my understanding that the police will answer calls within that subdivision. But the county roads,
Are ours.
the sheriff will still patrol.
Ours, yeah.
The city won't have authority on the county roads, so that's always.
That's always been the case.
I've always wondered why that happens. If you're going to annex a land, you ought to annex the road, too, and you ought to have to pay to keep it up. So, I don't know. That's to me, that's one of the pristine areas of Douglas County. There's not a lot of subdivision. I don't think there's any subdivisions on that road in Douglas County. So I would imagine we're going to hear quite an uproar from those people that live there. But if we can't do anything about it, then I don't like that, if we can't do anything about it. But
I don't know what.
yes, I don't know if I'm speaking for the board or not, but I'd certainly be against that. And I'd like to protect those people and protect that farmland over there. And I'd also like to not add quite so many children to our school system. But that's just my opinion. Anyone else? Yes, sir, Mr. Director.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Phil, I think you already know what I'm going to say here. Because there will be impact to roads, there will be impact to sewers, there will be impact to fire, public safety, code enforcement. Yep. That's a given.
Yep.
And anytime there is any developers coming in and trying to build 4 units where it's zoned for 1, that disgraces me. So I am in agreement with the chairman, and I definitely would love to hear public comment, and I think that the public will be pretty disdain with this as well.
Yeah, I don't envy them their meeting at the city council when it does happen.
Is this tomorrow night that we?
You don't have, this is a discussion item. I'm asking for the will of the board to create a letter to the city to express your concerns and to express your objection to what's happening, but realize that we don't have a way of preventing it.
I think you've heard what our feelings are on it, and if they want to build a house on an acre, which is what's required right now, I don't have a problem with that. But
4 a unit, it's
4 units an acre is a lot. But yeah, I'm against it. Yes, sir, Mr. Alcaraz.
Is Fire Chief still here? Chief, come on up real quick, please, sir.
Good morning.
Chief, which station will be servicing that subdivision?
And where's it?
Chicago Avenue.
That would be Station 10, Station 7, Station 10 and Station 11.
All right, Station 11, that's Highway 92?
Yes.
How many people do we have at that station currently?
Currently, 4 to 5.
And they already have to service all those subdivisions and townhomes up 92.
That is correct. That is correct. Unless there's some kind of study done, we're taxed.
Okay. Phil, I'm done, Chief. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I'm absolutely thankful to hear all the comments from my other commissioners. I'm completely against it because that is District 4, and that area, as Chairman stated, there is no subdivision up that way. I've had many conversations with the city about how we need to slow down these high-density, what I'm going to call them, high-density subdivisions, townhomes, apartments, until we can get our infrastructure back up in place, or to be able to handle, not only that, to go ahead and get our public safety fully staffed what they need to, and equipment that they need to service such subdivisions. So, I mean, yeah, I'm all for proposing a letter to them in regards to our displeasure about this subdivision coming in. And again, I've many times expressed I am not a fan on putting cookie cutter homes on quarter-acre lots and squeezing them all in there. I believe that our county is now at a point where we need to start having neighborhoods, real neighborhoods, yards where kids can get out and play and things that they can do, but where they're not just walking in and handing the butter over to the neighbor through the window. But you know, I would like for you to get something together, let them know all of our comments. And yes, I know for a fact those people on Doris Road, God bless them at that meeting. But
Yeah, that's what I can tell you. I've already spoken to a few people who live out there who got wind of it, and that will not be a pretty city council meeting. That will be one tough meeting,
Well, they
absolutely.
to
But
show up-
I'll get a letter together and be able to let you all see that.
Can you please add to that letter also, to Chief Allen's point? We've already had a concrete example of what it looks like when our community's fire department is overtaxed. We just had a fire off of Chicago Avenue that completely shut down our ability to have fire department EMS response from Douglas County to respond anywhere else in the county, because they were all in a high-density area, and people who got harmed or hurt or injured in the remaining of Douglas County had to wait for Cobb County or Fulton County to respond. I think that is irresponsible development. I think that is irresponsible annexation, and you're putting people's lives at risk when you do things like that, even if it is permissible under the statute.
Right. Okey doke.
Yes. Yes, dear.
Oh, one moment.
Yes,
Oh.
if I could speak just to.
Yes, Ms. Wiggins, our attorney, Ms. Wiggins.
About the annexation. I certainly want to consider OCGA 3636-113, which allows us to propose an objection when there's an increase in density. While the delivery of services is not necessarily by itself a basis for challenging the annexation, it could certainly be used in addition with the delivery of services as a reason to object. So I'll get with staff, and if we do find that this proposed annexation rises to the level of the statute, we'll put on your agenda for tomorrow a vote, because it does require a majority vote, for the board to object.
Can you
Okay.
give us that statute again?
3636-113.
Thank you.
And maybe you could get with Mr. Schaefer, and maybe y'all could come up with one of those letters that burnt your desk when you put it, when you delivered it, maybe. But you know, we're serious about this. We don't want it to happen.
You've
Okay,
got it.
anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and Mr. Schaefer, I talked to the sheriff's office, and they said give them the RV park and also give them the road that went with it. So
Okay.
they're in favor of
They're
that,
in
by the
favor
way.
too, okay.
That concludes the agenda items.
Okay. Attorney Wiggins, do we need to go into executive session?
Yes, for the purposes of personnel.
Okay, we need a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel. Is that what we're discussing?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a pest today. I got commissioner comments.
Oh, did I leave out commissioner comments? Okay. We will now have commissioner comments.
I just wanted to go back. I appreciate Sue coming and speaking about the animal shelter. And so for the future, I do want to have that added as an agenda item that we can discuss, so that we can make sure that we do have the appropriate mechanisms to make sure that the animal shelter does not stay in the predicament that they're in. I have also heard and seen the same concerns in terms of the neutering requirements, and I do know that there have been different coalitions that have reached out to the commission directly to see what kind of partnerships can be developed, so that maybe we can take some of that burden off of the animal shelter to make sure that we are not adopting out animals that have not been spayed or neutered. We need to make sure that we're also looking at what our either our upgrade options are in our contracts for the current washing machines and dryers that are already there, and any other large mechanical tools that we have there, because we should not be depending on volunteers and residents to take that stuff home and wash it themselves. Is completely inappropriate. And I too did see that post as well, and as she mentioned, it has been taken down. But I don't want to see it reposted the next time that they are in that same predicament. And so we just need to make sure that we are taking care of what we need, and we might need to relook at how that budget is being allocated. I do think that they've been provided with sufficient funding, and so we need to make sure that we're looking at how that funding is actually being used to to make sure that it's going to necessities, to make sure, because this is a public safety item, and it does matter to the residents and the communities. I know even in our neighborhood, we have a cat coalition where people out of the goodness of their hearts are trapping and paying out of their own pocket. Our community is making sure that these animals don't continue to reproduce and overpopulate. And so we just need to make sure that we are looking into that going forward. I yield back, Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Do I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.